Hi, I'm Liz, and I'm traveling left and right with Liz and Rob, and Rob's not available right now, so I'm on my own today. Today, I'm going to be talking about cruising Alaska, what we did right, what we did wrong, and what we'd like to do differently for next time. I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, thumbs up, and hopefully you'll subscribe. I had been monitoring the weather for the week coming up to our cruise and in the different ports, and I saw that it was going to be cooler and wetter than it actually was. At least that's what the forecast said. So that's how we packed. And things we would have done differently, one of the things would be with our packing. And we bought rain jackets and rain pants, which the rain jackets were great because it also worked as a windbreaker, and you wear that with the sweatshirt underneath and you're good to go. We also bought the heavy jackets. We didn't need that. Just the sweatshirt and the windbreaker / rain jacket was perfect. We didn't need the rain jacket at all because it really only drizzled a little bit in Ketchikan, that's it. But that was just being lucky. Most of the time it does rain there, so the rain jacket I think is still one of the things I'll still bring when we go again. Rain pants, if you have outdoor hiking that you are planning on doing with one of your excursions, I still suggest to bring that because you don't want to be soaking wet in jeans for the whole day where it's still on the pool side. And it takes up hardly any room in your suitcase. It's worth bringing, I'd say. One thing we were not prepared for is how warm it was. My husband only packed one pair of shorts and he was overheated all the time. He bought something like 4 pair of jeans and a pair of khakis, but he should have been bringing more shorts, he said. So if you have room in your suitcase, I would bring a couple of pair of shorts just in case you do by off chance get that nice warm weather that we got, especially if you're going in July. And also, if you have any outdoor excursions where you're doing some kind of hiking, which a lot of Alaska excursions have, I would suggest either bringing a pair of hiking shoes or boots or a pair of sneakers that have good traction, because there is a lot of rugged terrain there, and it definitely made a difference when we went on one of our hikes. It was night and day. I was so glad I had the hiking shoes. My husband, on the other hand, had his work boots on, the steel toes, and he was not comfortable, and it was miserable for him. So it's worth bringing something lightweight. That's what I would suggest, lightweight and hiking. One thing we did bring was binoculars, and we bought a pair for both of us, which turned out to be perfect because we had a balcony cabin, and if one of us spotted something, we'd call the other one to come out and see it also, and we got to both see the same thing at the same time instead of one of us possibly missing it or neither one of us kept getting it because we're trying to find out where it is real quick. This time we both get to see it. So having a pair of binoculars for both of you is well worth it. And we had a good grade of binoculars, and I'm glad we did because we saw some really amazing sea life, otters and stuff that we wouldn't have been able to make out what it was until we had the binoculars, things like that. And it's great for the whale watching and in some of the other excursions too. So, because there's just so much wildlife, the bald eagles, it's amazing. So you want to bring a pair of binoculars if you can. And if you can, bring 2 pair, one for you and whoever you're going with. Another thing I want to mention is staying in Seattle before the cruise. Most people get in the day before at least, and what I suggest is to try to find a hotel that's somewhat close to the cruise port or has shuttle service. I think there's 14 to 17 of them that do offer shuttle service. Some you are included and some that you pay for a nominal amount, and it just makes it easier to get to the cruise port. You just sit there and you schedule the time you want to go, and it takes you right up to there. We ended up taking an Uber, which worked out well for us, but we did find out there was quite a few places that did have this shuttle service. So next time we'll look more into that. Now, getting on the ship, there's some things that were a little bit different on this cruise than were on the Caribbean cruises that we normally take. Now, in the Serenity Area, which is the adult area, the hot tubs and the pools were heated, a lot warmer than we really thought they were going to be, but they closed so early. For some reason, I don't know why, they closed the pool, they closed the bar and the hot tub in that area, and the only thing really available to use there are the clamshell chairs and some seating. One thing we did learn also is that you can ask your room steward for a robe. and he'll bring it right down. The room steward will bring it right to your room. And if you want to go up to the pool or the hot tub, you have a rope to wrap around you if it's a little cooler out, or getting out of the pool or the hot tub, you wrap that around you and you're a lot warmer going back down to your cabin. Now we ended up getting a balcony cabin, which I'm so glad we did, because once you get into the fjords, which is I believe the beginning of day 2, or the middle of the night of day 1 into day 2, and you see nothing but beauty from that point on, and you don't want to miss it. If you can get the balcony, it's definitely worth getting the balcony. I mean, you open it up. We had the balcony open up in the evenings and just sat there, and it's just so much beauty to take in. Now, there's a naturalist on board, and what the naturalist does, he gets on the speakers and he points out things as he sees them. If he sees a pod of whales, otters, or bald eagles, and he tells you about the different fjords there are and how they were made and the glaciers, and you know what to look for then. Unfortunately, you don't hear these announcements in the cabin, so you either have to go to the hallway, try to catch it, or you miss out. So it's a catch-22 with that one. I think next time we would spend more time up on the deck with our binoculars and wait for these announcements to come on the radio, on the speaker, because as many times as I heard our naturalists speak, if we got to see wildlife at every time, I think we would have seen a lot more than we did. I think I assumed that there was going to be so much wildlife there that I was going to constantly see it any time, and it really wasn't that way. You needed to take it the minute you heard it to take advantage of that situation. If they're announcing there's whales somewhere, you need to get there. You just don't expect to be able to see it again, maybe a little bit later down the line, because it might not be there. We did discover, in a way, the clamshell chairs out back on one of the decks. It was facing the back, so you got the best of both worlds as you're going through, and they keep the wind off of you. You get comfy there. You can put a blanket on over you, and it's just really comfortable to sit and watch everything go by. If you're enjoying this video, it would be great if you gave us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And one of the things that was very surprising, I had thought that we were going to see more glaciers and glacier calving where the sides of the glaciers fall into the water, and it really wasn't anything like that at all. As we were going through the fjords, particularly Tracy Arm Fjord is where I really expected to see that. You saw some small icebergs here and there, but nothing like what I thought. The only way that we would have achieved that was if we went on an particular excursion that the cruise ship offered, and I'll touch base with that in a little bit. But it wasn't really what I expected as far as, seeing these huge glaciers on both sides of us. Another thing that was throwing me off a little bit was the time changes. I think it threw a lot of people off, because I had a sense that a lot of them had jet lag, because a lot of people come from the east going out west, and there's a 4-hour difference in time. And then as you go further north on on this trip, you're setting the clocks back even more. So you're up to, I think it's 5-hour difference by the time we get to one of the ports. And it's still daylight at 2 o'clock in the morning still. I mean, right now it is 2:40 in the morning. And it is so light out, it's crazy. That it's still daylight at 2 in the morning, you can see outside. It's just crazy. I didn't expect it to be like that. I knew we were gonna see a lot of daylight, but it's not, it's a lot more than I thought, but it's just beautiful. But with our internal clock being off, I mean, coming from Myrtle Beach at west, it was 4 hours to begin with, and then the time change and the travel. By day 4, I believe it was, we just crashed. It just caught up to us finally. One of the things that were interesting were the dinners. They were still light when we left dinner. I mean, we're leaving at 10 o'clock after dinner, and it's still daylight out. So that was a little odd, but one of the things we probably should have done was ask for window seating. I know you can ask for it, and sometimes you'll have to wait, but I think it would have been worth the wait, because such beauty. How often do you go have dinner and see fjords on both sides of you? It's just one of those things. I think it would be worth next time waiting 15 minutes to wait for a table by the window. Now, we had 5 ports that we went to that we actually stopped at, and we had Tracy Arm, which is not really a port, but it is an excursion area. I'll explain that in a moment. But the first one was Icy Point Strait, and that one we actually had a whale watch tour planned. We had planned 4 different tours for different excursions for different ports, and it seemed like we were heavy on the whale watching, and we kept hearing we're going to see all these whales, and it's like, all right, let's back off on one of them and let's do something different. And we just, in Icy Point. So we canceled that one. And it turns out that was part of the one we should have kept, because so many people were coming back from a whale watch tour from all different excursions, and they saw whales all day long. I've seen some of the pictures. We missed out. It was a cute town. I enjoyed going to it, and but I think next time we'll be going whale watching out of there. The other thing at Icy Point Strait, people were doing the polar challenge, and I think I would have done that had I had my kids with me. I would have jumped in the water too, and just for the fun of it. But people were doing that, and that looked like it would have been fun. Now in Juneau, we had a hiking / canoe trip we thought we had planned, and we crossed paths in our messages and read something wrong. It was our fault, and we ended up on a different tour than we thought. Apparently this company offered a similar tour and we booked the wrong one. The one we thought we were booking was a hiking / canoe trip. This one was an advanced hiking trip, and we're not hikers. So we hiked 4 miles to get to Mendenhall Glacier and 4 miles back, and the terrain was not simple. I have a new respect for hiking now, but needless to say though, at the port there, right by the port, there's a tramway. It's a gondola that took you up to Roberts Mountain, and it looks right down at the port. My mother-in-law did that, and she loved it. She showed us the pictures, which I'll share with you, and it was just, wow. That was only $45. I mean, we could have done that one and then spent the day in the town shopping. There's so many cute shops that I wish we went to, but we did this strenuous hike, and that's the one that knocked me out on day 4. So we missed out on that. So make sure you read your excursion itinerary very well. That's just a hint. I won't do that one again. Now in Skagway, we took a canoe tour. Maybe that's where I messed it up and confused the two, but it was a canoe tour, and we went to Davidson Glacier, and that one was really nice. We had a really great time there. Saw the glacier up pretty close. None of them would allow you to step on the glaciers though, none of the tours, only because it was melting so quickly and the glaciers weren't stable. So we were supposed to see an ice cave, I believe, in the Mendenhall Glacier. We didn't even see that because it just melted away. So they weren't allowing anybody on the glaciers. So that was a little surprising. The only way I think we could have got on the glacier is if we were on a helicopter tour, which we weren't. But anyway, Skagway was also adorable. So when we got back, we did walk around town a little bit. It is a really cute Western looking town. It is, I would have liked to spend more time in there, and maybe next time. The next day on the 4th of July, we end up in Tracy Arm Fjord. And that's the one where I thought we were gonna really see the glaciers on both sides and, you know, all over the place and calving, and that wasn't the case. There is, however, a tour that you can book through the cruise ship. But when you first go on to see what the excursions are, it shows as a Seattle tour. So we didn't even look at the Seattle tours. And we found out later that once we were actually on the ship, it turned into a Tracy Arm Fjord tour. And by then the slots were booked up, so we missed out. And that one takes you into a smaller area where there are glaciers on both sides, where there's calving. And we made a friend on the ship, and she shared her video with us, which I'll share with you, and it looks amazing.
I got that one.
Oh, that big. Oh, Mike, do you have it?
So if you have the opportunity to take this tour, this is, of all tours, take this tour. It's well worth it. And it's one of those things that's a lifetime thing to see. And I will be doing that one next time for sure. And that one's right off the ship. They don't even really, I think they slow down or stop for a moment, and you transfer to another ship, or a small boat actually. And it's a little private tour. It goes through Carnivals, through the ship itself. Now I don't know all the cruise ships do this, but this particular cruise was doing, we were on the Carnival Spirit, and that's definitely well worth doing. had I known that hindsight, we would have booked it. And then the next day we were in Ketchikan, and it's a really cute town. We had an orca kayaking tour booked for that one, and it's the day after 4th of July. So the company said that our tour guides had 4th of July sickness, and we were like, what is that? And apparently they were out too late partying a little too much, and they all called in sick. So needless to say, we didn't get to go kayaking with the orcas. So that's where I really was going to, I thought we were going to see lots of whales, and we missed out on that. I think having a backup plan would be a good idea next time. We went into Ketchikan, and I kept hearing this loud show going on, and I finally asked, what is that? And it turns out it was the lumberjack show, and everybody was having a blast there. I mean, you literally could hear it across town. It's a small little town, but you could hear all the cheering and everything. I'm like, wow, we should have done that. So that would have probably been my backup plan on that. Either way, I think I'd like to do that. Either that excursion, it's right there, right off the ship, so it's not even hard to get to. But we did go into town though, and we got to walk around, and the shops there, we bought a few things. The shops were very reasonable, and it was a cute town to see no matter what. Ketchikan, we were tendered in, so we had a short day to begin with, so we were on limited time. Because the tender line was so long, we were on it over an hour to get back on the ship, and we were only in the halfway mark approximately. There were people behind us and a lot in front of us. They only had 2 tender boats going back and forth to our ship. So I think next time what we would do is we'd wait a little longer before we got on that line, especially knowing that right in front of the tender line, there are a couple of bars and restaurants there that we could actually see the line. We were waving to fellow passengers, and they were probably like, yeah, I'm glad I'm not on that line. And we were like, I wish I was at that restaurant. Anyways, that we would be definitely doing different next time if we have to tender in. Our last port was a lot better than we expected. It was in Victoria, Canada, and I guess I really didn't know what to expect. I didn't think much of it because we were only there for a few hours in the evening, so we were just gonna wing it and see what happened. So after we got off the ship, they had a bus there. You can take a bus into town, or you could take, they had the horse-drawn carriage there, or you can get a private tour person to come and pick you up, or whatever it is that you would use. But we took the bus in. Once we got into town, we decided to go to Chinatown, and it was very pretty, scenic. We took a lot of pictures, and we were walking around. Hindsight though, I think we would have gone the other way, because the other way was along the waterway, where the water was, and as it got dark, it was even prettier. But it was just beautiful the way it was lit up. So many things to see, cute shops, and next time I think we'll take the walk along the water and head down that way, because there seemed to be a lot more to see that way. And one other thing that we noticed with all these shops being closed, there were a few that were open, and they were sort of catering to the tourists like us, and expecting us to buy things, which we did. And my husband and I went in there, and we picked up a sweatshirt, a baseball cap, and he got a shot glass. And it was supposed to come to $53. Now, if I handed over the cash, that's what it would have been. And they explained to me if I wanted to pay with a credit card, it would be less with their exchange rate. So I did do that, and sure enough, it was only $40. So I saved $13 by using my credit card there. One thing we probably would have done differently, I did notice that they had carriage rides there, and the tour guides were talking to the people, pointing things out, and it looked like a lot of fun. And when I got back, I looked it up, and sure enough, they weren't expensive at all. Each carriage was between $100 and $225 for the tour, but that's for the whole carriage, and the carriage will hold 4 to 6 people. So if you're a family, that is an ideal way to get around and learn about the town. There's a lot of history there, and it just looks so comfortable. They had blankets over their laps. It was really pretty looking. So I think next time we would do that for sure. That concludes this video, and I really hope you learned something and that it helped you along the way. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when new videos come out, just hit that little bell there, and that will alert you to our new videos when we post them. Thank you for watching.